There is a man in your city right now worth $43 million. He drives a 10-year-old Toyota pickup, scuffed boots, faded jacket. He was behind you in line at the grocery store last Tuesday and you did not give him a second look. That was not an accident. There is a spectrum of wealth that most financial content completely ignores because it does not photograph well. It does not post. It does not perform. It exists in the negative space between what people show and what they actually hold. And the further up that spectrum you go, the more invisible it becomes. Ni, nunsklade tunhaniths, 7 levels. Let us go through all of them. Ni, level 1, $1 to $3 million. This is what most people picture when they hear the word wealthy. The house is paid off, maybe upgraded once. They fly business class when the points align. They have a financial advisor who calls them by their first name. But here is the tell. They still care whether you notice. There is still a gravitational pull toward the signal, the right neighborhood, the right school, the right car and the right driveway. They have money. They just have not yet decided whether to hide it. Level 2, 3 to 10 million. Something shifts here. The person has enough that external validation from a balance sheet stops feeling necessary. The house is good, but it is not the biggest house on the street. The car is reliable, not theatrical. They have begun to understand something that took years to learn. Visible wealth is expensive. It attracts friction, bad deals, needy relatives, unsolicited opinions from people who want a piece of something they cannot quite name. The quiet retreat has begun. Level 3, 10 to 30 million. This is where stealth starts becoming intentional. The assets are restructured. You will not find their name on property records because the property is held inside an LLC. You will not find their net worth in a database because it is distributed across trusts, private placements, and accounts at institutions that do not advertise on television. Their lifestyle looks, from the outside, upper middle class. That is the point. The goal is not austerity. The goal is opacity. There is a meaningful difference between those two things. Level 4, 30 to 100 million. Stealth wealth stops being a preference and becomes a deliberate strategy. These individuals have staffed professionals whose job in part is concealment, not from the IRS, legally, but from social exposure, from unsolicited deal flow, from being the obvious target in any room they enter. They drive through neighborhoods and nobody knows they own the building. They sit on nonprofit boards as regular members, not headline donors. They are at your kid's soccer game on a Saturday morning. You have spoken to them. You remember them as pleasant and completely unremarkable. That is the masterwork. That is the craft. Level 5, 100 million to 500 million. Now the concealment becomes structural at a different scale entirely. At this range, the individual is no longer trying to hide their wealth from people. They are managing how entire systems perceive them. Political exposure becomes a real consideration. Philanthropic positioning becomes calculated. The family office, a private financial institution that exists solely to manage their assets, now employs more people than most small businesses in your town. On a donor wall somewhere. One tasteful mention. That is a controlled release, a deliberate signal designed to obscure everything else. Level 6, 500 million to 1 billion. This is the threshold where wealth stops being personal and starts being institutional. The person no longer makes investment decisions. Teams do. They make decisions about the teams. The family office has a family office. There is a layer of management between the individual and their own money, not because they lost control, but because that distance is itself a form of protection. Something quietly profound has happened at this level. The wealth has outlived the urgency that created it. It now exists primarily to perpetuate itself across generations. The original earner may still be alive, still driving that old truck. At this point, the truck is almost a philosophical statement. Level 7, above 1 billion. The quiet billionaire. This is the part that should give you pause. Most people who reach this level are not in your mental model of what a billionaire looks like. The ones you know, the ones whose names you recognize, those are the ones who chose visibility. For ego, or leverage, or brand building. Visibility served them, so they took it. The ones who chose disappearance are operating on a different logic entirely. They are not in the magazine, not at Davos, not on any list that lists care about. Their companies are private. Their foundations operate under names that mean nothing to you. Their influence moves through proxies and intermediaries, and they prefer it that way. They are not hiding from accountability. They are hiding from legibility. That distinction is important, because the entire framework of how most people understand wealth, who has it, how it moves, who it serves, is built on the visible sample, the wealthy people who chose to be seen. Which means everything you think you know about how money consensuates and flows in this world is built on the fraction of wealthy people who wanted you to know about them. The ones who did not, you have never thought about them once, and they find that remarkably useful.